Hi, I'm Jason. I'm the director for this documentary.
Hi, I'm Hakimie and I'm the producer for Our EVs Truly the Future.
My name is Alphie and my role for this production would be assistant director.
My name is Boh Ren. I am the sound recordist and sound designer.
I am Zann and I am the camera operator.
My name is Ezzudean and I'm the camera.
My name is Adrien. I'm the editor for this production.
Honestly, the main reason why I wrote about electric vehicles was the fact that a lot of people feel like it's gonna be the one all solve all kind of pill, but with climate change being such a big issue, EVs are just a piece of a much bigger puzzle. So I decided to go deeper into this rabbit hole, which was really quite a rabbit hole. Heck, I think it was more of a ravine rather than a rabbit hole.
I feel like scheduling has been a major difference between a documentary project and a fiction program. I feel like since fiction program, we have everything planned out early, so we know when to schedule. It's easy for me to schedule it out. However, for a documentary project, we have last-minute interviewees and on these dates, so I have to change it around every single time. And I feel like that was one of the biggest challenges I had.
You need to look for like organizations and stuff. And the thing is that these organizations, they take like a few weeks to respond. And our pre-production stage is only 2 weeks, so it's very tough.
I rigged up the camera because I wanted a nicer handheld look, but I forgot the fact that I was not really... Yeah, one trick I learned from Jason, who learned it from a DP friend, was it looks funny, but you breathe like that. Like you keep your airway open, so when you breathe, you don't jerk. The B-roll shooting was very spontaneous, and the weather was also very spontaneous. So I was at MBS shooting a sunset time-lapse and a dragon drone show. 3 minutes into the dragon drone show, it was a sudden downpour. There was no build-up to the rain, it just straight up whacked.
One of the challenges that we faced was mainly pre-production, because I think we only had like 2 weeks to do everything like script, and then because we can't start the shortlist without the script, so we were only given like 3-4 days. Sometimes it rains, and then there was like a problem where we couldn't shoot at this one location, but luckily we had like a backup location.
I would say one challenge I faced was time, because I had stuff to do. There was not much time to do it because like everything started coming in late, you know, like when I was editing, the videos came in 2 days, 1 day before editing, so it was tough. So I did a lot of motion graphics for this assignment and I didn't know how to do it. So I had to learn how to, you know, mask, how to clone stamp. It's a lot of different like kind of more artistic stuff.
I would say not what I expected. I expected it to be more chill actually, but I guess especially with the topic at hand, with so much research that needed to be verified and so much case studies that needed to be contacted and needed to have a lot of like vetting, I think that the docu was quite difficult to make if you ask me, especially with the amount of hours I needed to spend awake.
Compared to other groups, we didn't have designated case studies. We were still researching for case studies even after the pre-production phase. I thought the project was going to go downhill from there, but I don't know how, miraculously, we managed to make a comeback, and I think we made one of the best documentaries out of the whole group, out of the whole cohort.
So overall, the documentary experience, I would say is very, very spontaneous. But it was still quite fun, I would say. Despite all the pre-production that's very tiring to do, shooting itself, it can be quite fun, and especially with our team, which is like very chill.
Overall, I find it very spontaneous because everything is like 2 days before come out, like, okay, we don't do this, we're like, huh? We got nothing prepared, we like have to rush for it. Then I be like, okay, let's do great equipment the next day then before we fly to the location that day.
It was quite relaxing for me because B-roll shooting was something I do in my free time as a way to relax. So it was tiring, but it was really fun. I was half regretting my decision joining Jason. Like, it was the most daunting story treatment among all the other 10 that I read. Because I've worked with Jason for many projects now, I had trust that he would put it through, which in the end he did.
Overall experience for me it was fun, because I never worked with this group, like any of the members except for Boh Ren. You know, it was my first time working with everyone, and then, you know, I get to see like how they work, you know, what are like their, you know, vision and all.
I'd say my overall documentary experience was pretty damn fun. It was fun because, especially for post-production, we would often have these post-production sleepovers. And during these sleepovers, we kind of chat, and we distract the editor a bit.
Like once again, shooting for documentary, you need to verify a lot of sources. So while shooting for narrative, you can kind of like twist the facts in favor of your world, because as long as it makes sense in the context of the story, in the world that you built, then I guess it will make sense. But because a documentary is literally to document either factual or personal experiences, it has to have some form of groundedness in it.
Realistically, filming doesn't mean a lot in documentary. It's mainly the pre-production phase and the research phase that is the most chaotic part of the whole documentary. Like compared to fiction, on set is when you have to be on point every time. However, for documentary, you have to be on point for the entire thing. Even for pre-production and post-production, you have to be on point in order to get the people that you want.
There's a lot of last-minute stuff as well. We managed to like grab an interview from Dean, which is the SP group guy, and that was like 6 days, like almost a week before submission. But for fiction, there's not a lot of room for last-minute stuff as well.
The key difference is I feel it's the timeline, because everything is, when you do like fiction, everything has been like planned properly, out nicely before we go into like actual production and stuff. But for this one, it's really spontaneous moments, snap, go with it, yeah.
Fiction was very planned. Like the director already has the clear vision out with the script. I just had to think of ways to build the world. But for documentary, I'm more of capturing the world. And I feel like it's more of crafting the story with what we are given. I have to think of as many ways as the visuals could go. Like the script says A, I have to think of 3 different visuals that could support the script, and then keep it in mind whenever I go out to travel and shoot B-rolls.
You do have like a specific shots that you want, because it's like your own thing happening at the own time. While for narrative, it's like we plan like our shot sizes, what kind of movement, because we have a script of what the talent is gonna say, what everything is gonna happen. But for documentary, we don't have a script. Everything is we gotta know what the interviewee is saying, because if you shoot these B-rolls, it might not be relative to what they're saying.
I think the biggest thing is that when you're doing a documentary, you're like kind of piecing it after shooting. And because of that, you don't know what you're gonna end up with. And especially during Rough Cut, yeah, it was pretty bad. However, once you kind of like have a sense of what you're doing, then you can start to like fill in the gaps of what you don't have or what's not so good. So it's more about kind of like you're finding it throughout the production process instead of planning it all at the start and then kind of shooting it all together.
For documentary, we must always have a plan B prepared. There are a few times, right, the location I chose, it didn't turn out quite well, like either rain or airplane flying over.
I would say my key takeaway is if you're gonna do a project, do it with the right people. Because no matter how tough your job is, if you're doing it with the right people, it's always fun. And I think I had a lot of fun during this project.
The key takeaways is for me to, better shoot with a small camera. Because sometimes there was one time where I decided to go to like this gas station with a huge Canon Cine C300. I nearly shot, but then they saw this big camera and they told me to get out. So yeah, reminder, always use a small camera.
Always have immediate access to wet weather kits. Yes.